top four, those guys are nuts. No way I could ever compete with them. And so me and my dad, when I got this invitation, he was like, are you going to accept it? And I was like, yeah, 100%, no way would I not. And so he's like, okay, let's accept it. And so we accepted it. We started planning this long itinerary, this long trip. And we're like, okay, let's do this. My dad was so graceful with me. I don't know how much it cost, but let me just tell you this. I contributed about $65, and I don't know, he said he missed about 2 paychecks. But I love my dad a lot, and he served me in this moment, and he decided that he was going to help me out, make it to this world stage here in Helsingborg, Sweden. I don't have any pictures. I wish I did, but at that time I didn't like pictures, and I was kind of conceited. So my dad so lovingly, we made this huge trip, and we drove from Duluth, Minnesota, all the way down to Chicago. And we got into Chicago, and we decided to take a flight from there. I'll tell you, I've never stayed in such a bad hotel in my lifetime, but we only slept for about 4 hours, and then we kind of took off. So it wasn't really bad. I slept on this little futon, and as you can see, I'm not a tiny guy. So when we got on this airplane, I felt really bad for the guy in between me and my dad, because my dad's just as big as I am. And this dude was sitting there, he was cramped, he was tiny, and he's looking at us, and he's like, can I get some water? And I was like, sure, I guess. I mean, let me stand up. He's like, no, like, can I get out and get some water? I was like, oh, yeah, no problem. So me and my dad had to move out of the way, and he complained the whole ride, and eventually we landed, and he was fine. So we took a flight from Chicago all the way to London, England, and we got to go to this bougie hotel. I mean, like, I don't know about you, but I lived in Duluth. And the bougiest thing that we had was kind of Lake Superior, and that's kind of what we brag about all the time. And then we had like these little nice hotels. They're not great. I mean, there's nothing really bougie about them. But I stayed in this bougie hotel, and we walk in, and I see this nice little glass chandelier, and I'm like, oh man, I want that in my room. I was like, I'd love that hanging above my bed. And my dad looked at me, and he's like, you know how much that cost? I was like, probably way more than I want to spend on it. So we're kind of in this hotel room, we're getting food, everyone's looking at me funny because I have an American accent, and I don't know, London people don't like me. So we kind of wander around London, we're going on these cool things, we go see Big Ben, we go see Isaac Newton's grave for some weird reason, but my dad wanted to see it, so we go and see it, and we kind of wander around London, we enjoy it, it's a rainy day, and I'm complaining the whole time. At this time, I'm 17, it's about 5 days until my 18th birthday, and I am complaining. I hate every single step of the way, and I'm like, oh, where's our umbrellas? My dad's like, it's a light drizzle. You should be fine. You live in Minnesota. I was like, I need an umbrella. I was like, I want an umbrella. I want to look like the other people who have umbrellas all day. So we continue walking around. My dad buys me an umbrella, lovingly. And then we take a flight from London. We go to Denmark. We get these little Danish hot dogs. I don't know what they were. I just remember that I couldn't have a conversation with the dude. And I was just like, food, you feed me. I'm hungry. And he helped me out. And then we start to we go from Denmark, and we go on a train ride, and we go all the way to Sweden, and we finally arrive in Sweden after about 3 full days of traveling. I'm exhausted. And I look at my dad, and I'm like, I'm going to take a nap. And he's like, okay. So we get in, I'll take a nap, we kind of put everything away. We start to go to the competition. I'm looking, and I'm like, oh, I'm just so ecstatic. I'm here, I'm competing. And I'm like, Dad, can you give me some water? He's like, yeah. And I didn't know this, but in like Europe, they only give you like sparkling water. You have to like ask specifically for still water. And so my dad's like, I could only find sparkling water. So my dad, being the guy he is, sat in the corner and shook the water bottle until it became stilled for me. I was like, that is a lot of energy just to get me some still water, but thank you, I appreciate it. So we continue, and I start competing amongst all these guys, and I'm like, oh, I'm looking at them, I'm like, I could beat them. I'm 4 years older than some of these guys. There's no way they're gonna win. And so we compete back and forth, and eventually I take second. I lose by 5 pounds to a Polish kid who most definitely bragged about it to me. And he's a wonderful guy. He sends messages all the time to me and says, hey, I love to see your progress, and I haven't posted anything in a while. But it was really wonderful. My dad, in this moment, I remember right before my first lift, I was like, I'm really hungry. It's my 18th birthday. What can we get? My dad's like, I know there's a McDonald's that speaks English. You want to get some food? And I was like, yes, please. So he goes and buys me. Now, mind you, I didn't eat all of them, but he buys me 25 McDoubles for the whole day, and so that we could kind of split between the two of us and kind of eat throughout the day. And that's kind of all we ate for the day. And then afterwards, we kind of go back to our hotel room, and I'm mad. I'm mad beyond all comparison about the fact that I lost. Even though I was only expecting to compete, I was mad beyond all comparison. I was livid. I was like, I should have taken first. It's my 18th birthday. I'm the main character here. Who decided that guy got to win? By 5 pounds as well. He cheated. I know it. He probably took steroids. No, most definitely not. He's like 15 and 3 years younger than me and 4 inches taller. I mean, the guy looked like a giant. And I was like, okay, you're growing a full beard while I'm like still getting some scruff here. And so my dad asked me, he's like, he's like, aren't you just so happy that you competed? I was like, no, I hate this. I hate the fact that I competed against all these guys who were going to beat me. And he's like, dude, you should have been happy that you're just competing. I was like, I'm not anymore. I hate this. So we start to go into this kind of thing where Dad's like, do you want to go tour some of these castles and see other things? And I look at him, I was like, first of all, I don't even want to spend time with you right now. I'm so mad I want to sit in this hotel room by myself on my 18th birthday doing nothing. And so he kind of looks at me and he's like, you know what? I'm going to love you, and we're just going to sit in this hotel and play cribbage all the rest of the night. So we kind of just do that until we kind of leave on our flight, and that's a whole different story. But so the reason I tell you this story is not because I just want to tell you a random story and brag about it, even though I'd love to. But I'm going to just kind of tell you the story because I like this story, because me and my dad have this weird relationship where my dad likes to serve me in moments that I most definitely need to be served. So, like my dad, he decides that in all these moments, he helps me out, loves on me, cares for me, all these things. So, that's going to bring me to my first point tonight. First point is that we serve for community. Now, this is important because there's a special thing in serving for community. One, we serve the larger community. We help out everybody, right? My dad in that moment decided that I was part of his community that he needed to serve. So he came out and helped me, did all the things that he needed to do, got me McDoubles that I most definitely ate as much as I possibly could, did all of this, okay? And two, we serve to create community. My dad wanted a relationship with me. He didn't want me he didn't want to gain anything from me. He didn't want all the money that I was going to win, which I won none, by the way. I'm still mad about it. But I got all these nice sponsors, and he served me because he loved me. And he just wanted me to be in relationship with him. So, point number one, serve for community. In Matthew 8, verses 1 through 4, when Jesus came down from the mountainside, large crowds followed him. A man with leprosy came and knelt before him and said, Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean. Jesus reached out his hand and touched the man, said, I am willing. Be clean. Immediately he was cleansed of leprosy. Then Jesus said to him, see that you don't tell anyone, but go show to the priest and offer the gift Moses commanded as a testimony to them. Now, this is a weird story now. You're like, okay, what does serving have to do with me like healing someone of leprosy? Well, I'll get to that, all right? The important thing here is Jesus and the man of leprosy were in two very different circles. Jesus was in this circle who was considered to be rabbis and clean people, and he was of Jewish heritage. He had all of these little barriers around him and had all these little things that he could most definitely say that was his community. Okay, and then the man with leprosy over here, he had all these other things against him. He was slimy, gross, unclean. He had boils on his skin. He had all these different ailments that most definitely didn't provide anyone who wanted to love and care for him or even be in community with him. So they created this little community, ironically, of these lepers. They put these people in a circle, and they were like, you get to be a part of each other, love each other, just be unclean together. And instead, Jesus, in who he is, comes down and heals him and brings him back into community. As it says in verse 4, right, it talks about him telling the man to not tell anyone and go and bring the offering to the priests. To do so would make him clean once again and bring him back to community. So as I said, to serve like Jesus, we need to serve for community, to both create and for the larger community. Now, number two, we need to serve with compassion. This is something super important. We can't just be robots doing our daily tasks and being like, okay, I'm going to help someone out today. I'm going to go walk up, do this random thing, walk away. I'm going to be okay with that. No, we have to have emotion. There has to be something for us there. So I'm going to kind of mention the shortest verse in the Bible. I'm sorry about this, but it's John 11:35. Then Jesus wept. That's it. Then Jesus wept. And you're like, what does that have to do with serving? Well, it's super important when we have the context of the surrounding verses. Because at this moment, Jesus has just had one of his good friends. As mentioned last week, Mary and Martha also had a person around them called Lazarus, and Lazarus died. And in that moment, Jesus took the time on the way to go see Lazarus to weep. He cried for a man who was dead. He wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go heal him, and I love him, and that's it, and I'm out of here. No, he had emotional investment in this man. He knew this man. He was friends with this man. When we're serving people of our community, when we're serving those around us, we have to be emotionally invested. We have to be there for them. Because if we're not, then all we are is we're just people doing something. People just doing something with no purpose because all we've done is just fix the problem of theirs and we walk away. So, number 3, and this is a really important one for me. And I'm going to harp on this one a little deeper than the rest, but number 3 is we have to serve in humility. Because I love this culture currently. I love that you guys love to talk about a whole bunch of things, but I'm tired of seeing all these people on social media brag about the fact that they go out and feed the homeless. I'm sad about seeing them go and hand a homeless person a latte. I'm going to be 100% honest. A latte is not going to do the man any good. He doesn't need caffeine. He's tired. He doesn't need that. He needs food. He needs sustenance. He needs a job. He needs money, housing. He needs all of these things, but a latte is not going to do it. I'm tired of seeing that. In this moment that we have to serve in humility, we're not doing this for the attention on ourselves. Serving is not about what we can do for other people. It's about what God can do for them. And that is all it is. It's not about us. It's not about me. If I'm going to serve like Jesus, it's got to be about the person that I'm serving. So, in Luke 22:25 through 27, Jesus told them, "In this world the kings and great men lord it over the people, yet they are called friends of the people. But among you it will be different. Those who are the greatest among you should take the lowest rank, and the leader should be like the servant. Who is more important, the one who sits at the table or the one who serves? The one who sits at the table, of course, but not here. For I am among you as one who serves." Jesus did not come down here to be a lord over men. We're not here to lord over our servanthood that we have over people. We're not going to be like, "Oh man, I served in church this Sunday. I'm better than you. Look at me. Look what I did. Man, I served for 8 hours in my community this week, guys. Look how good I am. Look at me. Look what I've done. I'm so happy." No, that's not at all what Jesus is asking. Jesus is asking, we're not going to be ones who sit at the table. We're going to be the ones serving the people at the table. Because there's a lot of people who are still sitting at that table. There's a lot of people who want to continue sitting at that table. And they need to be shown that sometimes, man, we could just help them out. We could be there for them emotionally. We can be there spiritually for them, praying for them, being a part of their community. Because so many of us like to keep our little community to ourselves. Oh man, I got 2 best friends, and I would die for them. But add a third in? No, I would never do that. So, as also stated in Philippians 2:6 through 8, though he was God, he did not think of equality with God as something to cling to. Instead, he gave up his divine privileges. He took the humble position of a slave and was born as a human being. This is important here. He was born as a human being. I don't know if you know what that means, but imagine if you had the power of a king, Lord, everything. Like you had all power in the universe and you were like, nah, I'm going to make myself the weakest person that I know. I'm going to make myself as one of the lowly beings that I'm going to serve. I'm going to serve among them. Then when he appeared in human form, he humbled himself in obedience to God and died a criminal's death on the cross. And I don't know about you guys, but this is something outrageous to me. The cross, as Pastor Corey talked about this weekend, was not meant for every single person to die on. It was meant for the lowliest of people. They didn't want the Roman soldiers to die on them. They didn't want the other people to die on them. This was humiliating in nature. This wasn't something that was supposed to be praised and loved. No, this was removing this person from the community. And instead, Jesus turned it into something that brings us to community. He took the cross and flipped it on his head. He was like, no, this has been something that removes other people from community. This is something that is humiliating. This is something that is just out of this world torturous. And instead, he was like, I'm going to show it in a way that shows love. I'm going to do it in a way that shows that I am humble. And I'm going to do it in a way that shows that I want community with everyone around me. The cross no longer is a symbol of torture and the rest of this. It's now a symbol that we are a community together. So, if we're going to talk about the ultimate service, serving like Jesus, I'm not asking you guys to go out and die. I'm not asking you guys to go find a cross and die on it. That's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is that sometimes there are moments in our lives when we have to go outside of our community, where we have to flip our community on its head. And I especially believe that this group of movement students, all of you guys, have the opportunity to do something for your community around you. Man, I hear people all the time, they're like, oh, the next generation will get it. The next generation will get it. Oh, the previous generation messed up. I'm like, I'm so tired. We have a generation right here. We have you guys here right now. You guys have so many amazing things that are not even revealed to you yet. And I see every single one of you having the opportunity to bring people to community. In your schools, in your families, in your friend groups. Even here at church, there are people that you have never interacted with in this youth group right here. That's staggering to me. There's people who sit on this side every week and there's people who sit on this side every week. And none of you guys have met in the middle. I just love what Jesus does. Jesus doesn't want this. He doesn't want this segregation, this separation between each other. What he wants is for all of us to be a community unified under his name. So, I'm going to challenge you guys this week. There's a lot of things I could challenge you with. I could be like, let's go out and serve the homeless. Let's go out and do something amazing. Let's go make this huge mission project, and let's go build a house in the Dominican Republic. But man, those are big things, but right now I got some small things that I think we need to start with. I think there are some places in our schools, in our families, and other places where we're not communicating with other people about how much we truly care about them because of someone who already cared about us. And so I'm going to challenge you guys this week. Find someone outside your circle. There's a lot of people outside your circle. There's a lot of people who aren't inside your little friend group. And I'm asking you guys this week to go outside of it. Do something small, wave at them, say hi, smile, go sit with them at lunch. You know the people I'm talking about, those people who go sitting by themselves, those people who don't want to let other people see them. There are other people who also do it for the attention, but go and love them too. Don't limit yourself on who you can be kind to, who you can love, who you can bring into your community. So, my challenge, go find someone this week who is not part of your community, your direct community, and bring them into your community. Invite them to church. It would be amazing if I get to see every single chair in here filled and I got to put another row in the back. I would love to see that every single week. I'd love to see just us serving other people as youth students. I would love to see us going out, being kind, loving, and being what Jesus wanted us to be. Because I want to serve like Jesus in this moment. I want to really just love with compassion. I want to be humble about it. And I really, really want to bring other people to my community. Can I ask you guys to close your eyes in prayer? So tonight, I pray to you, God. I mean, there are so many people in this room I don't know anything about. Maybe they are the ones outside of the community that need the community. Maybe they're the ones inside of the community that most definitely find themselves just needing something to do, that they've felt a burden on their heart for so long, God. And I ask in this moment that you just kind of find those people in this room, the people who don't have a community, the people who do have a community, and I pray that you expand the communities that there are. Lord, I just pray this. I pray, Lord, that there might be some people in here who might not even be focusing yet on you, Lord, because I know that's a really big struggle. I know there are some people in here who find themselves that they haven't even had the time to start focusing on you before they can start focusing on others. And I pray, Lord, that they kind of find both. I pray that they find that relationship with you. I pray that they find their relationship with themselves, and I pray that they can reach out outside of just themselves at this moment. I pray, Lord, a blessing over every single one of these. These are generation makers right here, Lord, in this room. I think every single one of these people have an opportunity tomorrow to change the world in subtle, small, or even big ways. I know, especially with the influence culture that we have nowadays, we all want to influence in a certain way, but Lord, I pray that we're influencers for you. I pray that we're no longer just influencers for what we want, Lord, but we're influencers for you. I pray this. In Jesus' name, amen.